ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Croatia, Europa Universalis for Croatia, in which, as we were about to enter into the 1800s, as we stopped on the last episode on 1799. So, again, the game's timeline, this series will end in 1821, as a reminder. So that means, at this rate, I think it's probably going to be about 3 episodes left. But unless a world war occurs, like what happened in the Delhi Mughal series, which again, I'm the one that started it. But here in Croatia, if there's ever going to be a world war scenario, I would be the one to try to avoid it as much as I can. But if it's gotten to the point where it's unavoidable, or if our rivals has gotten too powerful for its own good, for it to be in the place in this world, then it shall be. So, on the last episode, we fought in a pretty big war down in East Africa. To be exact, around the, open up this region. Around the, yes, the East Africa region, you got it right. With a little bit of South Africa. Very little to Central. So it was largely the African War. The Croatian African War. But not against all African nations, obviously. So we mainly fought against Kilwa, in which, again, this sway of land, again, prior to the war, this was the land that we've had colonized, and Mombasa was the only one. The gains you made are here, here, well, hell, let the coring provinces tell you otherwise, including Zanzibar, the one that I wanted the most. The ones that are currently core right now are the gains that we've made. And now those armies are on their way back to the only piece of friendly territory in Madagascar, at Tomorrow. And with the war over now, obviously this episode's going to be about, making those trade company investments. What trade company, you ask? This Croatian East African Company. So, which means we have achieved a very strong trade position in this area. Although the percent doesn't look like that right now. You just wait till 1 more month for it to register, or a few days. And again, a part of that is due to the overextension, which knocks down the trade power abroad. But when we're done coring these areas, which it won't be finished until 1802, then we can start making some real money here. As well as improving any centers of trade if the development is good. Such as this one, for starters. But you may want to put a hold on that. Again, more interested in trade company investments, because I'd rather help increase its income. Which again, Croatia controls, for now, 56% of its trade power. Even though we only collect this much. That's how much we earn around here. And yeah, the income isn't much, but improvements will be made. And that's what the company is for, as I just slap on my knee for that, instead of hitting a desk as I had a habit of doing. So that's what this episode's about. Company investments, and subsequently, these troops will be heading home. Back to the Balkans, yes. We're all going home. No more overseas ventures. I don't think the world is big enough for me right now. And if I try to fight any other country, well then, you'll be at the risk of alienating your allies. Or worse, fighting other major powers such as the Ming, with their vast army. Even worse is the Timurids, the one who I dread the most. Which again, as per Timurid traditions, which has land leader shock up, morale of armies up, shock damage, and discipline too. Combined with all the ideas that they've taken for offensive ideas, quantity, and they're about to finish up on defensive, so they're going to be very hard to beat. And if only they were to come down to India and take certain objectives, including Delhi and Jawanpur, but doesn't look like that's going to happen, so you can breathe a sigh of relief, because can you imagine if the Timurids suddenly turned into a Mughal empire? Then that'd be the death of Croatia. Not as a whole nation, but as a legitimate world power, in the sense of how strong militarily can they take it on, and all that. Hypothetical. If you were to fight a war against the Timurids, the Commonwealth and the Mamluks would join up, but it'll be even, because you'll be fighting against them and Fijian as well, which is something that I just don't want. But you could ask, I would use your favors to tell other countries like Pasai and Karaman to prepare for war. Genoa and Tuscany would not join because that's a war too far away. Speaking of Tuscany, hey, old friend Tuscany, how long have you been revolutionary? What are you, anyway? It's a revolutionary republic. Revolutionary state, like ideas, legislative assembly, union of states, presidential system, devolution of powers, moral principle, military electorate, bureaucratic apparatus, and government for the people. Called so. That means president. So, Tuscany, my old friend, you've been revolutionary for a while. I think it probably became revolutionary when I was fighting that East African war with Killa. But again, if you were to tell other countries, like, what happened? Allied to rival, Genoa, Tuscany, all. We might have a falling out for this old Sultanate of Karaman. Yeah, we used to be good friends, but I mean, aggressive expansion is one thing, and now I returned you a province that I have no recollection of, to be honest. You got a lot of friends. Well, to be honest about the Karaman, it's the case of, well, what good are you to me now? It's countries like these that's becoming an issue. As I said, we practically ran out of room if we want to form other trade companies. Well, that's tempting, since there is a small degree of presence there. Now, if I was to go to war against countries like Mogadishu, I would fight Yemen and fight Killa again. Do we really need to do that? You already got the lands you want, but maybe you should ask Yemen. You've improved relations with them once, and they're friendly with you. But it would take some convincing, of course. Not good enough. Huh. Mamluks would never give it away because they're a powerful nation. Trade charter regional skepticism. No money in the world would be able to buy them all. Interesting. Now, if you declare war against Yemen, you declare war against all the others, including Mamluks, so can't do that. Well then. Huh. God dang it. Do you really want to do this? I mean, look at the trade value in the node. it's more valuable than Zanzibar, but it's in the works, so I think you should just be content with what you have. There's no reason to fight another war to take more coastal centers of trade. And if... I think it's better off you just send light ships to protect trade, and then you make some, I don't know, fortune out of that if you got a merchant present there. Or at least have a merchant to be sent over to the Gulf of Aden and just collect it from there. You have some degree of trade power. I mean, look, Gujarat goes to there. You already got the power up there. The hell are you worried about? So, this is for more local trade power. First company investments, done. Goods produced. Oh yeah, definitely put that one here in Zanzibar, because that area is very important to us. That's for the whole area here. Oh yeah, we also took another gold province. That's only because of the center of trade there. And another one here. And what were the resources at up here? Oh, mainly all this, including cloth, which is always good if a manufacturer is present. Let me see. Yes, they do have textile manufacturing by the previous owners. Thank you very much. Now you're wondering, it's like, what's up with the investments you've been making? You're starting to talk like business. Well, look how close we are. Our monthly income is 926. Reach up to 1,000, you'll become the economic hegemon. For those that recalled my Delhi Mughal series, I became economic hegemon as a Mughal empire. And we made most of the money through production rather than trade. Croatia, however, relies more of its income on trade than taxation or production. As I will have a look at you as a reminder. We make a very good fortune in production, but trade is far more important. And taxation isn't as much as it used to. I mean, actually, we do have the total income now, but I don't want to start off the episode as economic hegemon. I think I'd rather do that the next. It's just, I wanted to get it to the point where this, snapping my fingers because I'm drawing a blank in the head, is to make sure that this income has to be very much sustainable. And then in a few years' time, when the trade power abroad goes back up, when we fully core those provinces, then the income will be sustainable, and then before the series ends, I will be declared economic hegemon. I will do that, even if it alienates my old friends, just to show that Croatia is the richest country in the world in terms of monthly income. And yes, it's true, highest income, most provinces, highest province value, highest income, highest trade income. But however, we are falling behind in the league of largest army. I mean, you could build more ships if you wish to, but that'll be a lot of maintenance. And the land force limit, well, that'll be in the works when we start making all that money again. And then use that money to build more of the soldiers' households. Let me look at it for example. Such as some of the areas where we colonized Africa from. Well, not all, but you get the idea. Anyone that's got a food resource, then a large increase of manpower reserves, and then we'll use that to build more armies, And then the Croatian military, as far as strength is concerned, compared to the Timurids, which are, well, obviously the Timurids double that size of Croatia's army. So we want to catch up. Unfortunately, at least the Timurid is a land empire. Not even a Commonwealth could take on the Timurids. I think it would take our combined strength, and including the Mamluks, to put down the Timurids. And that includes you have to fight other friends, like Fars, who's been making gains recently. Tiny Karakunulu. Perm up there as well. Which I don't know how they're friends at that point. Probably due to common enemies with the Commonwealth. Vijayanagar, which was a nation that really... Oh god, they gave us a hard time last time. That's the reason why Pasai's gotta come in. Akonulu would not join because they had recently warming of relations with the Timurids, I believe. Yes, they've improved relations recently. You know, I would tell Akonulu, once I improve relations with them again, and tell them, hey, decrease that opinion that you have on them. I don't want you to be nice with the Timurids. They're Croatia's worst enemy. As far as I'm concerned, worse than France and Spain, I can tell you that. I have a lot of enemies, but these will remain my rivals. Now, if you were to fight a war against them, against Spain, bringing the Commonwealth, Genoa, and Pasai, we would be on the losing end. Especially with Portugal, and Tuscany would betray us. Doesn't matter what kind of war it is. In fact, if I was to fight Spain in a major war, I would need major allies. Not even Britain. It's rather surprising that France and Spain are not at each other's throats. Even though they're two competing powers and all that. Anyways, more company investments. Not done here. Might as well put that one here too. Oh yeah, never done that one down here. Only because it ain't worth much, it's just livestock and fish. No. And hope that the income is sustainable, or we'll be going home. Don't start any wars, and try your damnedest not to get involved in any wars. And then once you're all back home, then we will make more armies and building more soldiers' households, so we can get the income. I mean, not the income, the manpower reserves up to the max, which should be finished before the 1810s, I predict. But in the meantime, improve the centers of trade. For more trade power. Especially here. That'll do it. And if there is one area that I would like to develop, it would be Zanzibar, of course. Glad it has a trade station. Because slavery's going to be no longer a thing soon. Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Oh yes, you have this now. Superior ship design. You have that tech now. One more company investment. Croatian township. Which we already have that in the Mombasa area. Is there a way to remove that? Huh. No. Once it's built, it's built. Take it or leave it. Unless you want to turn to a state, then the company goes away. Here it is. Croatian district. For the entire central Swahili coast, that's the territory we're talking about here. Local development cost will be reduced, while tax increases a bit. There you go. For future reference, develop this territory a little more. And one final decision before we will finally get moving to this timeline. Grow cloves in Zanzibar. We have found that cloves, a viable trade good currently only found in the spice islands, can be grown on the island of Zanzibar off the coast of Africa. And I am the owner of it. So now replacing slaves will be this. And there you have it. As a reminder, this is a very valuable spice native to the Maluku Islands in Indonesia. It has been the center of several wars that controls its production. Cloves are aromatic flower buds that are harvested when those buds transition to a bright red from an original pale hue. Cloves are extensively used in cuisines from Asia to the Mediterranean and to America via colonization. The price is valuable with this, and the bonus it gives you is even more local trade power. That since you are to have the production leader bonus, local trade goods produce modifier jumps up to +10. That makes you are, yes. And since you just added one right now, then you are the undisputed master of trading this kind of spice. Giving us more trade efficiency, more income through trade and all that. Not so much on trading in paper though. All the incense. Or tropical wood. But definitely the spices. Chinaware, yeah, we got that too. But trading in ivory, trading in slaves, global tariffs, well, we abolished slavery, so we're not into that sort of thing anymore. So, yeah, again, that's who we are. Croatia, colonizer, global trade. It did jump up the income. Any other areas that we have taken where slaves have been removed? Well then, I'm sure we'll find more. Hey, since you got tropical wood here, and allegedly it says, hey, we're the local leader in producing tropical wood. Well, I'm sure those in India, like Vijayanagar that does that, they have that honor. But anything for it. As I stated before, we're all gonna go home, so we'll be heading back to the Balkans. There'll be no more wars for us to be fighting for other people's ports and all that. Well, this one you gotta stay back, just in case. Just in case. If something occurs. And of course the main fleet to Zagreb. You should get to drilling, all of you. And of course, protect the colonies are still growing. Off you go. God, but the nut. Revolutionary ideas spread. A month has passed. Sir, yes, sir. Croatian East African Company achieved very strong trade position in the area. Now I know exactly where I'm going to send this merchant to. Up there. We have some trade power there. So why don't we just collect from it? Every little bit of money making helps. And check your income. See, I know this was too good to be true. This is why we have to work on it. Yes, some of you will have to stay back due to possible separatism from anywhere. Especially here. Kilwa was a world port, but now it's Entrepot. Yeah, why the heck not? This one will give us more discipline. And finishing defensive ideas will give you army recover army morale speed. Got it all tongue-tied here. And now you unlock these policies. That'll be useful should you get yourself into a world war. Like horse artillery. There's no need for, you know, these kind of policies. We already have the trade steering, but if I'm that desperate, then trade efficiency. More trade efficiency. If I researched all the text, then I would be using these kind of policies, as we're so much trade intensive. Yeah, it's starting to get up there again. Now that the merchant is present. How much? Oh, no. He's not present yet, excuse me. Wait for one more, army. Then they'll be on board these transports. And then we'll be going back to Croatia. All of us. We're all gonna go home. Maybe. I say maybe because of potential separatism in the next, few years. If things get out of hand. To Athens. And once you're done, you have to split up. And of course, we gotta sort everybody out. So I could say, okay, which one of you guys is gonna, you know, link up with the old armies? Okay, things have simmered down now. Discontent expired. Good. And don't forget, these manufactories are still being built over in Japan, where more fortune will be made soon. In fact, I mean, you still make a very good income, which is still in the works. Okay, Gulf of Aden. Not as much as you wish to, but just wait for the trade power abroad to be restored. In fact, 3%. Ugh. One would think we probably made a mistake, but don't worry about it. Don't be tempted to start a war with Mogadishu and Yemen. Don't be tempted. As inviting as it looks. But I'm more interested in building more soldiers' households or manpower increase. Wherever it is built, it'll be built here. Anything to improve it. That contains, you know, all the good ones. And yes, even some in Croatian Africa. They'll be built there too. Now, Croatian Sabo. If you want to make more money through trade, we gotta pass this issue. Which again, I ask you people a question, for you viewers. Do you prefer the diet system as it was seen through parts of the Croatian series and throughout the Delhi Mughal series, or do you prefer the parliamentary system? And Sabor is a Croatian exclusive due to its cultural name, as the modern day Republic of Croatia's parliament is called Sabor. Anyways. Yeah, sure. Take sides in parliament. Sure. But make them more influential than they need be. Be careful with that. Allow use of crownlands. We don't have crownlands as we used to. Wish I could seize it, but no, everybody will be mad, except for the burghers. They've always been good to me. Think, damn it. Oh, do take it. Do sing Republic of Tradition. And administrative support as well. But I will not do anything that causes a loss of mercantilism. I would do that if I had more money to hire somebody that would be of accepted culture like this man. But the problem is I like him because he's got discipline. So I can't get rid of him. Plus there's hardly any government reform progress because it's highly doubtful we'll get to the last part before this series ends. But if I had it, I would go for this. For maximum absolutism, because of the benefits it'll give you. Just like we learned from the Mughal Empire. Especially all these privileges that you've given. So fine. Support populists. And losing a bit of professionalism might be costly because, one, it gives you the reduction of the cost of hiring a general. And two, that army drill being modified will be reduced, so that means it'll be a bit slower to get there. But as long as everybody drills at the same time, I think you'll get it up there just fine. Try not to worry yourself. You're not expected to be taking part of a world war, alright? Calm yourself down. So praise local regiments then. What's the traditions? Traditions. The army tradition is 71.1. Navy tradition is a bit lower than that. You gain army tradition through combat, you know. Yes, increased by ideas, buildings, land combat, and sieging. Plus all these companies that you have with these investments of townships everywhere. You know what, go for it. Grant army commissions. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the Parliament has passed a reduced trade regulations, giving us, for the next 10 years, more trade efficiency and a little bit more of that global trade power. Sunday night we wanted it back until these areas will be fully cored. Blast these people. Reduced autonomy hurts the trade power, production efficiency, tax modifier, and all that. Especially here. Well, actually not here. There's reasons. And then what's wrong in areas like Bosnia and Herzegovina? Because revolution, that's why. And remember, Lublin is the birthplace of revolution, and Spain is the biggest propagator of revolution there is. Given countries like France, Genoa, and even Tuscany, old friend, it has become revolutionary. Hey, since I just spent all that money, hey, do you mind? Because I wanted to spend more on, you know, building more of these, you know, soldiers' households. Yeah, because, well, hang on here. Take it for example. Hang on. Stop right there. Well, to be fair, these are all colonies, and you haven't really developed it much at all. Well, if I was to build training fields here, that's just even less. You build it all on the good buildings. Well, if I was to build it in manufacturers where it could be of more value to us. Oh yes, you haven't done that one. But the rest of that is just... eh. You have all this tropical wood, and yet you claim that you're the leader of producing tropical wood? I call BS, but you're not quite there yet. What is that tropical wood? 17% versus 18%? You might as well build more manufacturers. Do something with that money in your life, will you? Even if it's less developed. That don't make you much money, but as long as it produces it, then you'll be good. Let me check that again. Trading in ivory. Oh, we can keep that up. Okay, ivory it is then. There you go. Including those areas that's already been fully caught. Now, please, let's get this episode over with, even though... those sons of beeswaxes. We're trying to get home, and I am trying to not tempt myself into joining a war. Not joining a war. Starting a war in Mogadishu and Yemen to take more coastal centers of trade for forming another trade company for this charter. After all, that production increased and industrialization and all that, it helps too. Look at how much of improvement that you made. Tariffs on grain. The grain production in one of our colonies is coming to focus. Seems that it generates quite a lot of money, perhaps too much without being properly taxed. In the spirit of mercantilism, we should force them to trade their grain through our ports instead. This will greatly benefit our own merchants and add a lot of income to the crown's coffers. Well, we're trying to catch up, and we don't make much money through tariffs. So we're doing that to Croatian Canada. The Liberty Desire, the Croatian... No, that's tariff efficiency, dummy. Liberty Desire is over here. Tax it. Yeah, that jumped up a bit. They didn't like that. Hmm. Well, I'm sorry that you're a bit more valuable to us. In fact, is it true that those areas in the... No, areas in the Chesapeake Bay is more valuable. Not to mention all that good money is being sent to the English Channel. In fact, that's the only way out. And don't forget that Ohio also passes through there. Into this area. About to be home. Here comes more. Alright, split up. Just scatter around. So that way we'll know, alright, which of these regiments that is not of 30,000 strong. Go pick up the rest. If anybody's going to be pulling security, it's these guys. Should there be any unrest. But if I swear to God, if these guys try to rebel, we will use harsh treatment. Alright. Could have sworn I thought we had this, but no. You got it. It's just, despite the promotion investments, it isn't enough. And you barely got that up there. And the Indonesia company, that's Malacca, right? Yes. Well, once the trade power bot goes back up again, it'll work. Do not worry. It'll work. Unless there's something you might have missed. Well, there's these areas, but talking about production efficiency, goods produced. You know, you've never done military administration. You've been talking, you need more manpower reserves and sailors. Well, that's what these are for. Okay, so forces of the Palatinate utterly vanquished the Clevian Revolutionary Army. So now they're back to normal. Wish I could crush Spain's revolution when if there was going to be a world war of any kind, I would crush revolutions. That's what I would do. You don't have a merchant present in Bengal. It's not as valuable. No reason for that, except maybe, I don't know, trade steering, because, you know, you have some degree of power, and it goes to that way. Even though Vijayanagar dominates that trade, and we can't do a thing about it. But it has to go somewhere. So I believe you're better off with that. Prosperity of price. The company has an insatiable need to purchase new land overseas. The property appraiser allows us to get that land at the lowest possible price, increasing our ability to control the flow of trade in the area. Yeah, but my question is, where the hell is it going to steer to? So it's only going to go that way, since Croatia dominates the Bengal trade. And it goes this way. Ships are present there. Yeah, might as well. What are you afraid of? Now there's no more room. Fine. Even though it's not much of a value anyhow. So you've done it all for there. Where are we? Here we are. You really jumped up on the tariffs. Maybe you should do that to New Croatia as well. Increase tariffs. Oh, that spends that. Oh, okay, you just have to wait for events then. Doesn't give us much in ducats. Additional tribute, not ain't much. Alright, now that you're all here, I don't think a rebellion's gonna happen anytime soon, so you'll be fine. Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna go back to the Cossack army. How'd y'all get separated? Rejoin your brethren over there. Moria. Then once you're all landed, then I need you to sort them, get them back to your armies, and then you all start drilling again. Those are at full strength, start training. Same for this one. These need to get back together after much separation. Well, I'll take part 2. 5 fire, 4 shock, 2 maneuver, 2 siege. Put me in this. Well, actually, that's fully drilled. In fact, does it really freaking matter? Doesn't matter which army you drill. We just need to get that professionalism back up to normal. Well, Spain just took more territory. Those bastards. Yep. Spanish Indonesia. Something you do not want to see in anyone's map. Just pray that there'll be separatism. Perhaps Majapahit separatists again. Spreading revolution, my eye. Milan is revolutionary too, and yet it uses that Italian tricolor. Actually, Genoa wanted to be doing that for some time. How many revolutionary countries are there? Let me count. Starting from the letter R, obviously. Okay. 1, 2. Let me pause. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 revolutionary countries. Maybe before Cleves got, their tails kicked to them. Netherlands have not gone revolutionary, thank God. third... oh, what war is that, anyway? Anyways, slow it down here as it's going to be turn of a century here. Merchants and captains of trade vessels in Tunis have sent a representative to the government, describing their home as increasingly lawless land, where piracy runs rampant and the ships and ports are routinely raided by privateers. They argue that the government has neglected them and request funding to build defenses against the growing threats. If this request is not granted, many feel like they've already lost too much to take their business elsewhere. Send them wherever they can. Split up. Alright, back together. I think you were part of this army, based on the smaller numbers I see. You know what, let's make those company investments since you're so damn worried about, you know, what goes on here. Through a military administration, the company is to be able to raise private armies from the local population. As the power of the company increases, it begins to function almost as a militarized state in its own right. We never did this with any of our, except for Tunis, and certain other areas. I mean, you've already invested in some, but not all, because you were pretty neglect. So again, it's like, yes, you got your manpower reserves bonuses from the colonies, provinces, industrialization, sending celibacy, army tradition. But now you're about to make company investments, which will have a 100% increase on the local manpower of the same areas that you control. Give us more manpower and sailors. So, Japan for starters, because it was well developed before we took it. Like, this one you also own. Oh yeah, who could forget these well-developed territories that have been here long before us? Brunei, of course. We should invest more, and don't forget Croatian India. Yep, it did jump up. Again, not a significant increase, but every little bit helps. And during this decade of 1800s, during this decade, we gotta start building armies when we make a lot more money. And what else? Damn natives. We will dominate the trade of that area again. Unless there's something I can help with. Like, what does it for? I mean, base production is one thing. But I'm talking about trade value, local trade power. Aha! Develop a province, and you will increase its local trade power here. Again, if you're interested in area for Gujarat. And I ain't got no universities. Oh, you do have one. Doesn't cost much. But every little bit helps. I mean, you do have the means. See? Renaissance for economy focus. Ghosty, guess. Trading in tropical wood also helps. University, Croatian district investment, innovativeness. Yeah, you got it all covered. What are you talking about? You got it all covered. Perhaps you should do the same for the Croatian Indonesia company, because that recent Spanish expansion just will be troublesome. So there are some areas you do own that aren't as well developed than they should be. God, especially here. Yes, that. What are you doing? Anywhere else? Here. Here. Don't forget Croatian East, especially Goa. You invested a heck out of Goa. So that. Again, every little bit helps. 3,000 each month. Again, you're the one that developed it, and that caused quite a bit of trade power here, as compared to Tata, which isn't much. Yeah, we gotta start making improvements to the areas that we own. That's part of the Gujarat Trade Node. And you keep forgetting about this monument, which would do you wonders. You know what, speaking of that, the other great projects, over in Japan, there's one of them that you own, which is currently being built. Reduction of general costs would be grand. If you're willing to throw your money in that. Of course, here and here. Down here too. Every little bit helps. Oh, we'll get that next year, and we'll have more governing capacity, so you don't have to worry about that. $1802. Just as suspected. Now everybody drill. This is what I have in mind in the future for military expansions once I'm done with the company investments. Any of them that's of 25,000 strong will be 30,000 strong. That includes you too. And then if there's still more room in the land force limit, then we will create entirely new armies. Have it about as much as the manpower reserves that we'll have. And then we'll be strong enough to defend ourselves against the Timurids. Especially in a defensive war, which is what Croatia is pretty good at, actually. Hamburg is no longer revolutionary. It's back to normal. Thanks to the Dutch. Surprised the revolution has not been spread into the Indian subcontinent as of yet. No. a non-intimate territory. Self-sustaining. That means we're done here. Yeah, that one's a bit more developed than some of the others. There's reasons for that. Oh, good. Next area to colonize will be these two. Because you may never know that there's going to be tropical wood, which would be good. And, is that area? Tropical wood and any possibilities. May never know we'll strike gold again. Can only colonize as far as down here. Lost the effects of trading of incense. Well, at least we tried. By the way, where in Cuba to be exact? That'll be 26,000. You know what, just in case. You're gonna be called back here. Not in the mood to spend a military power. Culture unrest. The ongoing oppression and exploitation of a minority population in one of our provinces finally reached its boiling point. Citizens of the province are up in arms against the rule. Vitilivo. That's way over in the... Talking about over to there. Oh, hell. For the next 5 years, that area gets plenty of unrest. Yeah, that overextension discontent. Suppress the rebels. Hopefully they'll calm down next year. Wait, isn't that... No, that's next year, you dummy. This is the one you were looking forward to. Much better. Hopefully we'll get these as a big improvement. Croatian Fiji might be a potential hotbed for rebellion. Finish this up, and then we'll go take care of some more business. Again, not interested in forming a trade company over in what the illness has struck our colony in Mohammed. Here, we just as we brought many foreign diseases to the native people, seems that there's a curse on our land and our people are falling ill and dying an alarming one. If we do not organize a response, we risk losing our colony entirely. Oh boy. Oh gosh, dang it. Yeah, you can afford it. Send someone to organize a response. That's gonna slow it down to fully colonize the area. Since you're trying to collect the trade of the area that doesn't give you much, be sure to send a new fleet of light ships. That's another thing we ought to build. New fleet of light ships. Present. Tell you what. I'm in Zanzibar. Here's what you're gonna do. There. That's for the Central Swahili coast. That'll slow them down. Revolutionary France declared war against Burgundy. They wish to spread the revolution. Madmen! That's all I gotta say about it. And since they're HRE, that means you declared war against Burgundy, Baden, Hesse, Revolutionary Cologne, Munster, Sweden is also involved. Oldenburg, Würzburg, and Lip. Who's the HRE emperor? Brandenburg. You are correct. But knowing France, they know what they're going to be in for, and they're going to win it. And facing France is their colonies and Liège. Liège is an old ally of theirs. Since I really want to make monies by any means, of course, get the mercantilism up, since trade is our best income. And you just need 50 more ducats of total income, and then you'll get what you want. Oh, and who could forget a bit of war reparations from smaller countries that you fought against? Where the... is it? Besides the investments. No way you're gonna get this. And neither is that one. This is plausible. And this one may be doable, but thought about considering developing parts of the areas that we own that's part of the Gujarat Trade Node, just to increase that trade power just a tiny bit. And then you'll get what you want. Maybe perhaps the same there if we still don't get what we want. %40 mercantilism will do. There. How do you like me now, you bastards? There. Self-sustaining despite all the troubles we went through. And those manufactories in Japan are about to be finished. Soon. Right, these two are available, so send them. I fear that that time might be coming soon. And they are trying to cause trouble, and I don't like that. Oh, and don't forget the furnace over in Chikuzen. Don't forget about that. As you have as they already had a furnace built there in Tokachi. But here it'll be finished soon, and it'll be more valuable to us. The income would skyrocket. Well, I was probably being hyperbolic. 3. Just keep watching. We'll know what the income will be like come August. Oh, Jesus. Loric, Kosovo, Plovdiv. Revolution's choking Croatia alive. The more revolutionary it gets, it's going to reduce the income back in the homeland. That's, again, why we're heavily reliant on trade and not locally. It's built. And then there's your total income. Yep, it did climb. Maybe I could spend a little bit of money just to upgrade these buildings. Every little improvement helps. Let me see, Drats for example. Oh, that's because one hasn't been built there, but... Soldier's house that's being built. The ones that are colored in cyan are upgradable. Home. Okay, so 170 is the price that's going to change from church to cathedral. I see. Well, every little bit helps get started. Takes a year to build. How are you all worried about? Even if it's very little income, but if we want to reach the total full income and get it up to 1,000, well, you better start working. Improve all the churches and turn them into cathedrals, and any remaining workshops will become counting houses. I almost forget the name of it. Yeah, if it's got 0, it's fine. You're just simply upgrading them. There. See you later. So it's like, yes, the trade is fine, but perhaps the taxation could use some improvements. Including production. And look at Chikuzen. That one has more production than in Zagreb. What the heck? 40 development. That's why. Base production 20. Goods produced modifier here. And yet to compare that back in Zagreb. 62. Again, no room to build another building in that slot. After all, it is a World Trade Center here. So I guess my final major goal for this series is to make Croatia, before the end of this timeline, into an economic hegemony. As the monthly income is slowly increasing, but it could jump up with the upgrades to cathedrals, and then eventually we'll get around to the counting houses. Have them upgraded too. And don't forget about the gold from the colonies that you've got. The revolution continues to spread. Good God. 36% of the revolutions now present in Croatia. That is partly the reason why I brought the armies back home in the Balkans. In case there might be a widespread revolution in Croatia. If it's got to that point where it's unavoidable, then we'll do our damnedest to put them down. And then we'll be rich again. Huh. Insulted us. Do you have any idea what you are reduced to? You're nothing. Even if I were to declare war against you, I mean, what value do you even have? Slaves. Which we abolished that crap. Anyways, time has come. There'll be no unrest here. They're all gonna settle down. And that includes areas of Croatian Fiji. You're all gonna have to settle down and shut up. And then we could start making some real money. Here we go. January 27th. And then come February, let's see. Oh yeah, big jump. And these cathedrals will help. And then we're going to start upgrading the rest. Well, actually, continue to upgrade. We don't want to build new ones. We want to upgrade existing ones. That's what we're here for. And those areas that manufacturers that were built, good. Yes, I know it does very little, but every little bit helps. Don't care. Well, actually, one more building will do. And then, that's it. City of Ferrara, you'll get your seat in the subway. As we are an ever-expanding nation. A great nation. Hold on. Wait for March to come, then we will spend one last for this church to turn into a cathedral. Because every little bit of income helps. There. Here, you just wait for it to come and then you'll see a bit of a jump there. And if you're really anxious, maybe you should go for levy church tax or even more tax modifier. But what good does that do? Trade more important. No. 48.4%. Son of a beeswax. What about Indonesia? 46%. Son of a beeswax. Something tells me that sooner or later we're going to have to start developing some of these areas a bit just to increase its trade power. Yeah, we'll get to work on these workshops into counting houses sooner or later. You don't have a manufactory on a trade station for spices? What the hell's wrong with you? Build a university there. Develop that in the future. Bloody heads. We will be wrapping up this episode soon. At least you haven't done anything that's rather... Oh, hold on, what is this? Lanzang. The monastic order seized power. Lan Kum Deng I has allowed the monastic orders of Lanzang to grow too powerful, and now they made their move. While keeping the common people in line through their ties with the divine, the monastic orders have used every one of the many means available to them to seize the reins of government. While this still, in the name of our king, is now a little more than their puppet. Now it's controlled by the clergy. Oh, look at what you just did. This is what happens if one of your estates gets too influential. This is one of the disasters. It could happen. So they gave the clergy too much power, and then that's what happened. A coup. And if a plutocratic coup were to occur in Croatia, I'll be sure to put him down. Somehow. Anyways, Autonomical Theater. Local doctors in Jajce, that's in Bosnia and Herzegovina, have begun to pay good money to study fresh corpses. The physicians claim this allows them to improve their knowledge of the human body. Documented for the betterment of mankind, improving the grasp of the human autonomy is not an argument that impresses the locals when the graves of the recently deceased are opened in the morning, however. The citizens of Jajce are now demanding that we restrict these horrible practices and that we put a stop to these grave robbers. Again, it's in Donja Kraj. That's where it's occurring. Well, I'm gonna be that kind of guy. Let us work to secure a constant supply of bodies for their work. This will be a drop of prestige. Next 10 years, the whole Croatia area, not Donja Kraj, but Croatia proper, is gonna have unpopular dissections. But I don't think it really matters to me because there's gonna be no unrest around here. Discontent, unpopular dissections, revolution. Nobody gives a flying. Hey, why haven't we built these? More training fields. Since you're so concerned about manpower reserves. Well, we'll be thinking about that in the next episode. Anyways, let's just pass one more month so I can see the final tally of the income, as we will be closing the episode on that note. Oh, and also you two better get down here immediately. Need to protect the expanding colony down in Africa. And separatism has gone away, I believe. Yes. Time for you to get back home now. Back to the Balkans of you. Put you over there. Or Zagreb. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will close the episode on that note. Now, our final total income for now is 985. So it's quite likely in the next episode we will try to have a sustainable income where we'll become an economic hegemon, which of course, you know, remember the benefits it gives you. The goods produced modifier. Minimum autonomy in territories reduced, which will be good for the areas that we own and good for the trade companies and all that, as well as more foreign spy detection because of our rivals. That's been giving us quite a bit of trouble as of late, as we remain in first place. So as a reminder, we still have the most provinces, highest province value, highest income, highest trade income, but falling behind on the largest army in the world. So in the next episode we will expand the Croatian military, and there'll be more armies, and they'll be stationed to wherever is needed to deter possible Timurid aggression, as they are attacking Mawa. No, it's Fars that attacked Mawa. At war against Mawa, at Kunulu, and good. This is terrible. Kunulu is going to be in danger from Farsi and Timurid aggression. I think one of these days we may have to respond back to them. One of these days. And plus, they were in good relations between the two, but now that's deteriorated. So perhaps one day I think there will be a major war before this series ends. I mean, I can't guarantee everything, you know. Like, do we want to it's not necessarily going to be a world war because it doesn't involve the Americas this time. And none of the colonies have ever fought for independence. I mean, whatever previous attempts they were, they failed. Except for Haiti and Colombia. Those are the only ones that succeeded from breaking away from the colonial powers of whatever their origin. So, we hope you people enjoyed this episode, as this was mainly an economic episode of sorts, and the investments we made. Only because we want to get to the highest amount of trade income as possible, as well as reducing trade regulations, because that's what Parliament does when we pass certain acts. So now we can make even more income. Oh, and soon, in the next episode, we will be making investments to upgrade all the workshops that we own throughout the country and in the territories. That we should have a sustainable total income by then, hopefully. And if we get desperate, develop areas which contains gold. If you're that desperate. Unless you're lucky and then you strike gold. Again. And all that and more. So we hope you people enjoyed this episode as we dominate a bunch of trade nodes and more. But still. Just looking at one last few things before we get out of here. So save the military power for that. And don't forget, you also increase the innovativeness because of that whole dissected dead bodies thing. Yeah. Don't worry about those guys over in Fiji, they'll calm down. So, we'll see you in the next episode for the... Look, this episode was the economic buildup. Now, the next episode, it's military buildup. With a little bit of economic too. And possibly become economic hegemon. And all that. So long for now. Let's get out of here, man. Take a rest.